Unrestricted and unlimited. Talk about something. You're 101 with Stacey Thomas. Unrestricted and unlimited. We can talk about anything you want. Unrestricted and unlimited. Let's talk about something. You're 101 with Stacey Thomas. Unrestricted and unlimited. We can talk about anything you want. Yeah.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Stacey Thomas. Thank you for watching the Stacey Thomas Talk Show. Welcome, everybody. As always, I am here on a Wednesday evening bringing you only the best of the best. The only awesome people grace this platform, right? People that can educate you, entertain you, inspire you, motivate you. Okay? So we have an awesome guest tonight. And first, before we get to her, I want to shout out the Berry Farmer Morning Show, right? If you guys have never heard about the Berry Farmer Morning Show, you should really check it out. Berry Farmer and the Morning Show is like an awesome radio show that comes on at 7 a.m. in the morning time. I'm going to put Barry's information up during the show so that you guys can check him out. He's along with his host, Sharon Lizzie. You want to advertise. You want to listen to good music, right? You want to hear some sweet sounds, 7 o'clock in the morning. I suggest you check out the Berry Farmers Morning Show. They're out of Richmond, Virginia, right? Very well known. Voted top 3 of the best radio morning shows in RVA. Named the favorite radio show in Nova, nominated as the best radio show in Nashville, and recognized for their contributions in the city of Richmond. So be sure to check out the Berry Farmer Morning Show. Now, let's get to the good stuff. I want to bring you, from what word on the street is, one of the best attorneys in the Central Virginia area, but she's just not servicing Virginia. She'll get a chance to tell you exactly where she practices law. Let's bring on Angela. Hello, hello.
Well, hello. Can you see me? Oops, sorry.
I can see you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. Angela, first, let me say thank you very much. I know you're a very busy woman. One of the main topics like that I've been wanting to talk about, but you just don't want to talk about it with anybody. You want to talk to somebody that knows how to answer the questions. And I appreciate you taking the time to come on the platform and talk to us, sweetheart.
No problem.
Angela, my first question for you, and I don't like to point out things because of race, but at times it's a great thing because it lets other people see, other young women and men see what they can do and not let society tell them what they can do. Angela, what led you into this field of work, law?
Oh my goodness. Well, from a very young age, I was very inquisitive. So my mother said I asked way too many questions. But I wanted to know the who, the why, the what, the when, the where. So it was only logical that this is what I picked up. This isn't even what I thought I was going to go to college for. I started out wanting to be an accountant and then somehow switched to law. But I knew when I was younger that I wanted to help women in some capacity, because I lost my mother as a result of a tragedy due to domestic violence. So it's very important to me to be able to help women and give back in that realm.
I'm sorry about your mother. I think, like, from people I talk to, including myself, seems like things like that have happen in a lot of families. And then when it happens, it affect how we go on with life. So once again, I'm sorry for that. I'm sure she's proud of you. You
I,
have, I'm
certainly,
sorry.
I said I certainly hope so.
You have, because I like to read up on people. Well, before I even invite someone on the show, I like to read up on people. When I see one thing that catches my attention, I want to know more about them. And I noticed the thing with you. So you just said domestic violence is one of the reasons you went into law, but you don't specialize in just one area of law, right?
That's correct. I started out initially when I was in law school. I had the opportunity to do a lot with like domestic violence through Avalon. And once I got out of law school, as many of us know, once you start applying for jobs, it's a very saturated field. So I ended up going into medical malpractice defense, premise liability, and product liability defense. And then from there, I went on to bankruptcy, contracts, and evictions. So I still do that today. A lot of people don't know that. They think that family law is my primary practice, and it tends to be. But I also have over 15 years experience in those other areas. And I've been practicing for 24 years total.
24 years. Okay, you don't look like you've been doing it for 24, but okay.
Well,
Awesome.
thank you, darling. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Angela, out of all of them, which one is the most challenging?
I would probably say family law
Family law. And
because with the emotional turmoil that people are going through, because you have actually lived in it, through it in every capacity, be it someone looking for a protective order versus a custody situation, a divorce. Those things are highly emotional, and I care about each and every one of my clients. I pride myself on being a small boutique that makes myself available to my clients, because we're not only lawyers, we're also counselors. We also become their confidants when they're dealing with issues. And so you want to help, you want to see them find the resolution that they're looking for, and you're trying to do your best to help them do that. And so sometimes that can be really frustrating when the courts don't necessarily align with your goals. Specifically, with a lot of the custody issues, once we go to court, we're finding that the first initial hearing that you go to is normally just a status hearing. By the time that people come to me, they're experiencing problems with the other parent actually producing the child or honoring the agreement. But because of the status hearing, they think they're going to get there and they're going to have a resolution. I try to bring it to the judge's attention. A few judges may make a temporary ruling, but most of the time, these matters are set over anywhere from 4 to 6 months later. And that's very frustrating, especially for a parent that was looking for a quick resolution to a situation that has already become almost impossible for them to deal with the other parent.
wow. And the way you describe what you do, I can see why. You've got something on your website, excuse me. You've got something on your website that's even if you're not speaking it out loud, you're letting people know that you're passionate. And I printed it off. It says, Angela will represent your interests aggressively and passionately because she takes pride in fighting for her clients. As an effective negotiator, she understands that gaining resolution does not always require trial and has successfully settled many difficult cases. Are you like our chicken scandal?
The negotiator. I'd like to be the parent whisperer because, I have sometimes when I'm trying to reach a resolution, I will have someone from the other side that I don't represent saying, oh, she doesn't care about you. All she cares about is her client. That's not true. I'm a mother first, and I
Okay.
care about the children, and I
Okay.
care about us as a family unit and what we're doing for these children, because If we don't heal, we can't help them heal. So if if you have bitterness in your heart over the relationship that didn't work, you're gonna let that spill over into your parenting, and that's gonna negatively affect your child. So I'm here to give advice and try to help guide and steer you towards a healthy resolution that will benefit the children and you as co-parents.
Is it hard not to be biased for a mother, Angela? Is it hard not to want to see the mother with the child?
Absolutely not. I have some of my male clients, they are the most loving, compassionate. There's one client in particular that comes to mind. He came to my office with this little baby, and it was the most precious thing to see. But it's frustrating because honestly, I feel like some of the male attorneys who serve as guardian ad litems tend to be a little bit more in favor of moms per se over the fathers. Whereas I am like, from what I've seen, these fathers are just as capable and have the love and the desire and the means to handle these tiny little babies, and they want their time. It's frustrating though that society as a whole always thinks, oh, if the man wants a small baby to have custody every other week, he's thinking about child support. Some of these dads would care less about that. They just want a meaningful opportunity to help rear their child and be in that child's lives from day one.
Wow. And speaking of the way people look at things, it's not always, you said always best for the child to go to the mother. Sometimes it could be just as good as to go with the father. It's funny how society puts things out there. They expect this is for women, this is for men. The subject that I really want to talk about tonight, I thought about it at first. I was thinking it's all about the women losing out. But then I had to think about the fact that I know a couple of men who have entrusted their life with a woman that they're not married to, but they consider themselves lifelong partners. So, Angela, can I please change over to this thing of ladies, gentlemen, you don't want to be put in the back of the church. And if you don't know what that means, it simply means when you're not married but you're living together, or you're mingling and it's going on for years and years and there's no protection later on. I'll put in the post, Angela, uh living together but not tied together. So I want to start with something. Commonwealth state or common law state. We're in
We are
Virginia.
not one.
Virginia, is it?
Before you go there, Stacey, let me clarify something. I want to be clear. I am not saying that I prefer a mother or a father as a custodial parent. What I
Okay.
prefer is a cohesive household where two loving parents are co-parenting together. I am always advocating for a 50-50 if I can.
Wow.
That's the ideal situation.
That's
And
a
that's
great
what I try
idea.
to motivate my clients to do. Now, moving forward on to your next point, as far as it goes in regards to shacking up before you get married, like our grandmothers would say.
Well, is Virginia
There's nothing wrong with it, but if
what's a
you're looking
Commonwealth
for,
state?
I'm sorry.
Well, I wanted to start with, because a lot of the viewers are in Virginia. What's a common law state?
A lot of people under the impression that if you, and as far as common law is concerned, that if you live with an individual for a certain number of years, that you then automatically inherit or take on the role as a spouse. Virginia is not that state.
No matter how long you're together?
No, ma'am.
Do
There
you
are
get
states that do it. There are states that do it. I do not know them off the top of my head, so I do not want to state something that is incorrect. But there are states that do it. Virginia is not one of them.
so if Virginia is not one of them, Angela, a
Let me give you
couple
an example. I had an older lady. She'd been living with this man for about 10 years. Well, he got tired of her. He woke up one day and told her to be gone. And she was all upset and she's wondering, hey, what are my rights here? He's been paying all the bills. He's been taking care of me. What are my rights? I was like, you have the right to go out and find a job and find a new house because
you
there's
said
absolutely nothing.
nothing?
If you haven't, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, if you were a person who bought that house with that individual, say your name was on the deed, say your name is on the note, you at least would have a legal right to force a partition sale, or you could force the sale of the home and split the proceeds amongst you if you were lucky enough to actually be on the documents and you actually help pay. But if you didn't help pay and you're just a spouse that, or not a spouse, but you're just a live-in partner who has not contributed financially, then you would gain nothing upon their death or your separation, unless they put it in their will specifically.
Angela, a couple lives in a house together. Okay, let's say the lady that you spoke with, right? Live in a house together 10, 15, 20 years. Obviously, there are things that are shared. Somebody's bought the dishes, somebody's bought the furniture. They're buying things, Angela. And like you said, whether you separate or if they pass away, are you telling me, Angela, the person whose name is on the house, if they're not married, right? But they live together, are you saying that everything is in the house automatically goes to the heirs?
If you can produce some receipts to show that you actually purchased such certain personal property, you would be able to recoup that. But as
Who
far as
saves
the home itself,
receipts?
no.
Who saves receipts for years, Angela?
Today we live in a digital age. You can print off your checking account statement. You can print off your credit card statement. Most of the time, if you bought that bedroom suit, it should be there. If you bought that refrigerator, it should be there in your credit card statements or your banking statements.
Has there ever been a case, Angela? Just one. Has there ever been a case where it actually did go into, like, it didn't come out the way it does most of the time?
You mean in terms of the person being able to prove that certain items in the house belong to them?
Right.
Yes, I've successfully defended one of those.
But if there are no receipts, you can't defend them. You can't help them.
Good luck. The judge will allow you to put evidence on because some things don't make sense. Like the pink tutu, that's not really yours, sir. You don't have any children. The Longaberger basket collection, that's not really yours. I actually
Right.
had a guy who said it was his. I was representing the other party, but he swore out the Longaberger collection was his.
Well, you know what?
So
How can you say it's not, Angela? Okay, so
I think he may be the only man I've ever met in life who wanted a Longaberger collection. But stranger things have happened.
so if they're not married, so we know that you have to have receipts. We know you can't win if you don't have proof, right? Let's talk about, Angela,
Right.
these couples that live together and are not married. And I think about things like if one of them should get sick and can't speak. If you're not married and you have nothing on paper, the family can tell you you can't come to the hospital or the funeral, right?
They can. And it happens. They can put you out the next day if they like. They can ask you to leave. I mean, but the good thing is there are some protections just under law in general. You can't be put out of a house without at least a 30-day notice if you're a guest. So you'd at
Wow.
least get a 30-day notice.
Wow.
But hopefully you and your partner would have planned for this and at least have, there are things you can do. You can do like a deed that says, hey, upon my passing, I want a life estate to go to my long-term partner. And upon her death, then it passes to my heirs. So there's a way to protect that loved one's interest if you want to, even though you're not legally married. Or you can always just will it.
This is a little scary, Angela. It's a little scary for, like, there are women out here that have been married, don't want to be married again, but they're happy with their life partner. But then when you start thinking about, like, the things you're saying, it's scary because it's almost like to have rights, whether it's a man or woman, have rights to be there to speak for the partner if they're sick, if something happens. In the state of Virginia, you have to be married.
Not necessarily. That lifetime partner can give you a power of attorney. that would give you give you a power of attorney or a living will that gives and designates you as the specific spokesperson for them in those events. So there are ways around it.
If there's a woman, if there's a woman who's playing the role of side chick and she has children by a man, married or single, if that's his child and it's proven, can, even if it's not a will saying anything about the child, does that kid have any rights?
It hopefully the father signed the birth certificate.
But if he didn't,
you may have a legal battle to like prove that you're actually an heir.
we got chicks out here having these babies with these men. And
well, hopefully he signed the birth certificate, or you at least list him as the father.
Well, to get benefits, most of them aren't, but they're not thinking smartly because they're really not looking out for the children.
You were breaking up a little bit, Stacey. I couldn't hear you.
I said, but for the most part, a lot of people don't put the fathers on the birth certificates if they're under the system. So that's not always the smartest thing because you're not protecting the child. The child's not going to get any benefits from the father if something should happen.
Well, sometimes, that you can prove if the father's present in any way, you probably can allege certain family members will know. You may be able to do it that way, but that makes it really hard. So I would definitely suggest that you
give
your children the opportunity to get everything they're entitled to in this life.
Okay. So if a woman is single and a man is, well, so if we have a couple and they don't want to get married, but they want to spend their life together. So I guess the best thing to do is seek a lawyer. If you're local, call Angela. And there's paperwork that can be put in place to protect you, even if you're not married.
Right. A power of attorney will give you the authority to take care of that person if they fall ill and manage their financial affairs and things of that sort, if that's what they want. Also, a deed, a life estate deed, will give your partner, your lifelong partner, an opportunity to stay in the home upon your passing and allow your children to then inherit once your lifetime partner has passed. But at least that way your children can't put her out of the home you had built together, even though he or she may not have been on the deed or the note.
Right. I've seen people, I've heard about people, a couple stays together for years and years, and they pass away and a child steps in, and all of a sudden the child puts the child, I'm going to say this, Angela, and I'm not an attorney. I'm just going to speak from the talk show host side or just a woman, period. You have these women out here, you thinking because you're in love, everything's going to be okay and you're not married. But let me give you a little advice based on just let me say what I've seen and heard when speaking to people. The men babies that grow up, those women children that grow up, when the parent passes, I don't care how many times they smile at you when they see you, they will turn on you. And that's one of the reasons, Angela, I wanted to speak to you, because people need to know to protect themselves. And you're not married, it has to be on paper.
Absolutely.
I've heard of people at a funeral, Angela, at a funeral. Couple been together for years. Family turns when their son passes away. And that woman that was on his side for years that he loved, she no longer exists. Can't even sit with the family in the church. It's crazy. It's crazy. Look at me, all into it.
It's unfortunate, but it happens a lot.
Yeah. So, Angela, what is the main thing if you were talking to a group of women that were not married, a group of women that really didn't how do I say this? A group of women that just don't realize what it entails to just be living this life of partnership. What's the main thing you want them to know?
Do not gift or share your assets without knowing for sure that this person is committed to you.
Do not gift or share your assets.
Don't commingle your assets in terms of putting someone on the deed that's not your spouse, or putting someone on your checking account that's not your spouse, because people change their minds like t-shirts, and that goes for
And,
both sexes.
and you've seen this, Angela,
Way too often. Yes.
way too often. So people fall in love and they go, you know, if someone falls in love, if I fall in love and I go out and invest in him and he breaks up with me, I guess that's my loss.
It is. It's unfortunate.
That's
Unless,
my
of course, you had them sign something saying they pay you back.
Ooh, there we go. And so many people do things out of love.
Don't do it out of love. Love relationships are a business. It's a partnership that's meant to be companionship and friendship, but at the same time, if you're living together, you've got goals of accomplishing things and doing things. So I would suggest that you put everything in writing to protect yourself, because even if I were to subscribe to Voodoo, and I had a boo, and we were even to buy a television, we would have to do a contract about who's going to get that TV.
Are you serious? So
I mean, maybe not that petty, but I'm just saying, protect yourself. Put everything in writing.
I guess, I mean, because people be in love today and may not be in love tomorrow, and you're going to be a hurt individual, whether you're a man or a woman. If you call yourself thinking this other person is in love with you, and you've done all of this and invested in them, purchased this and purchased that, you could be I'm using good language, like out of luck, just out of luck if something happens. Ooh.
Yes.
So Angela, so anybody that's watching,
Yes, ma'am.
if they need, so I know you said what type of law you practice. Does that include the things you're fighting for? Do you write deeds? Do you write up contracts? Or must they have this before they come to you?
No, that's what I provide. Those are services that lawyers provide. Powers of attorneys, life estate deeds. Those are things that we provide on a daily basis.
Okay. And where do you practice law? What areas?
Everywhere. I am specifically located in Dinwiddie, but I also practice all throughout Virginia. There's no limitation. We can go wherever. The furthest I've gone is Harrisonburg or Roanoke, but if it's a cause I believe in, I'm happy to help.
Okay. So, and I've got
And
your
I'm also
information.
barred in West Virginia and DC.
You're barred in West Virginia. So, do you find that this thing with not having paperwork, not having deeds, not having trust, do you find that it's not how do I say this? Is it, let me just say this, the African American community, do you get just, how do I say, I don't want anyone, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I know a lot of times in the African American community, we don't get the information that we need. Do you get a lot of African Americans that find themselves not knowing about deeds, wills, and trust?
I think most people know about it, but a lot of us take the time. We're operating on that assumption that my boo's going to be here forever. We get caught up in our day-to-day lives. We intend to get that power of attorney. we intend to do that deed, we intend to do that will, and we get so busy in our lives that we just have to real. But I don't know that a lot of people know about the life estate, meaning that you can leave something to someone so that they can continue to live in your home, but then wait until they're passing before you deed it out to your children. I don't think people are aware of that specific clause, but I think most of us, I think, are privy to the fact that those things are available.
That those things are available.
It's just that we
Last,
wait too late. We wait. Think about it. Prince and Aretha. I think Aretha, they did find the will for her, but Prince died without a will.
say that
The
again.
purple
Oh,
one.
Prince, you were breaking up.
Prince, he died without a will. I said Prince died without a will.
Why
Who
would you
would
have
think would have had his
right?
affairs and his estate together?
Right.
So it
Rosalind.
happened. And you know Prince knew. Of course
Wow.
Prince did.
Wow.
He probably
Rosalind
just
said
never got around to it.
never, because people don't think about tomorrow. People think, oh, stuff is happening to everybody else, but nothing's going to happen to me. I'm going to live a long life. Rosalind says they know about
Exactly.
it, and the sad truth is they just don't think about it. Wow. Wow. Well,
But I
Angela,
mean, I know about it. Have I my own paperwork?
you're breaking up.
About it. I
We need you to repeat that. You're breaking
for
up.
me, it's easy. You know?
I think she's freezing up. Let's see if she'll come back.
Can you see me now?
I can see you now. So what was that last part you said?
Okay. I was saying, I said I draft these on a regular basis, at least on a weekly basis. Someone asked me about that and needs that type of document. I myself, 24 years of practice, 52 years old, I've never done my own. Because I keep thinking I'm going to get to it, right? No.
Angela, so what are you waiting on?
But in my case, I have one child. I don't see. This is the thing. If it was an urgent situation, then I would. I have one child.
Okay.
And so everything goes to my child, and I'm fine with it.
Okay. Okay.
By law, everything will go to my child.
Okay, so you know everything
about it. But I mean, I have a bunch, right? But I have a bunch of nieces. I have siblings, you know. But my son knows. We've talked about things, and I know my son is an honorable child. He will do what I asked him to do. But I mean, I could set it down to pen and paper, but I have not. So
okay.
At
So
some
you
point, I plan
to. You have your son. I guess it's a little different, and I guess people really need to think about the things that you said tonight. Like when people have blended families, you know what I mean? Even when you're married, you should have everything in order on paper, because greed causes families to fight, you know. Angela, this has been good.
Goodness, that is the worst part of being. That's the worst part about being in this business. Seeing how ugly people get when relatives pass towards each other. It's crazy.
It's everybody's fine and everybody's getting along, but the minute somebody passes, people lose their minds.
I think sometimes, rather than even aside from the money, it's just the emotional. Like, oh, mom left you that, or she gave this to that person, you know, and that type of disproportional division causes spite and envy to rear its ugly head.
Right. Well, Angela, it's been great. It's been very interesting. I do hope, I mean, I've learned some things. I do hope that the people watching have learned some things. And I do hope that if they find themselves saying, I need to talk to Angela, that they won't put it off, that they will call, email. We have your information up here. Um, I thank you for blessing us by coming on our platform.
You are more than welcome, dear.
And please, if you decide you're going to run for some office, because you've got bored going in the courtroom and you see there's more fighting you need to do, we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Have a great one. Thank you, Angela. That was great. That was great. My title said, don't be put in the back of the church. Get that paperwork in order. You can contact Angela, the law office of Angela Watson, Petersburg, area code 804-704-5590. If you need an attorney, if you need a consultation, check her out. Go to her website, okay? And I thank you for watching. Remember, asking to have paperwork done, asking to be given the power of attorney before something actually happens, it does not mean that we think something's going to happen to our partner. It does not mean that all we're thinking about is material things. Explain to your partner, whether it's a he or she, things happen. Let's have our paperwork in order. And once again, did you see that? Something flew past. And once again, thank you, Angela Watson, for coming on my platform. And the other thing is the Berry Farmer Morning Show. You guys, I'm going to put up the Berry Farmer Morning Show with Lizzie. We're sharing Lizzie on it. Get that information when it comes on. Go to berryfarmer.com. Check out Berry Farmer, okay? And in the meantime, remember, like I always say, don't stress too much about yesterday. Don't worry about tomorrow. If you do, you just might miss living today. Head over to Stacey Thomas Talk Show YouTube page. Like, share, subscribe. Enjoy yourselves and have a great one.
Unrestricted and unlimited. Talk about something. You're one-on-one with Stacey Thomas. Unrestricted and unlimited. We can talk about anything you want. Unrestricted and unlimited. Let's talk about something. You're one-on-one with Stacey Thomas. Unrestricted and unlimited.